Just when everyone thought Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler had finally escaped the endless war of the Yellowstone Ranch, something far more dangerous was already waiting for them in Texas. The land is bigger, the enemies are smarter, and this time the fight is not just about survival, it is about control of an entire empire. The first look at Dutton Ranch has already revealed something shocking. New rivals are emerging, powerful ranch families are watching every move Beth and Rip make, and the peace they were hoping to find may never come. But the biggest surprise is not just the new enemies, it is the people who will stand beside them, the alliances that could change everything, and the hidden conflicts that may destroy the Dutton legacy once and for all. So what exactly will happen in this brand new chapter of the Yellowstone universe, and why are fans already calling Dutton Ranch the most intense spin-off yet? After everything that happened in the Yellowstone finale, most fans believed that Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler would finally get the quiet life they had always dreamed about. For years, they fought to protect the Yellowstone Ranch from greedy developers, powerful politicians, and dangerous enemies who wanted the land for themselves. Every victory came with a price, and every battle pushed them closer to the edge. So when the story of Dutton Ranch begins, Beth and Rep are no longer in Montana. Instead, they have moved to Texas, hoping to start fresh on a massive ranch that could finally give them some stability. But as the official teaser already hints, peace is not something that follows the Dutton family for very long. The ranch they now control is enormous, stretching across thousands of acres of open land. But with that opportunity also comes new danger. Texas ranching is a completely different world compared to Montana. The competition is ruthless, the land is extremely valuable, and powerful ranch families have controlled the region for generations. In other words, Beth and Rip are not just starting over, they are stepping into a battlefield that has existed long before they arrived. The teaser already suggests that the couple will quickly realize something important. Owning land in Texas is not enough. To survive here, you have to prove that you belong. And for Beth, proving that she belongs has never been a problem. Throughout Yellowstone, we watched her destroy powerful businessmen, manipulate corporate empires, and outsmart people who underestimated her intelligence. But Texas is filled with people who are just as ruthless and just as ambitious. That means Beth may finally meet rivals who understand her tactics and know exactly how to challenge her. At the same time, Rip Wheeler is facing his own new responsibilities. In Yellowstone, Rip was the ultimate enforcer for John Dutton. He protected the ranch with absolute loyalty, and he never hesitated when violence was necessary. But now, things are different. Rip is no longer just a right-hand man. On this new ranch, he is expected to lead, manage workers, protect the land, and guide the next generation of cowboys who will help run the operation. This new role may force Rip to become something he has never truly been before, a leader who must balance strength with patience. And this is where another very important character returns to the story. Carter, the young boy who Rip and Beth began raising during Yellowstone, will continue his journey at the new ranch. Carter is no longer the lost kid we first met. Living with Rip has already started shaping him into a hard-working cowboy, but moving to Texas will test him in ways he has never experienced before. The environment is harsher, the expectations are higher, and the people around him may not be as forgiving as Rip and Beth. The teaser hints that Carter's development could become one of the most emotional storylines in the series. On one hand, Rip wants him to grow up into a strong rancher who understands responsibility and loyalty. On the other hand, Carter is still young enough to question what kind of future he truly wants. Does he want to follow the path of the Duttons, or will he eventually try to build a life that is different from the one Rip has known? While Beth, Rip, and Carter are trying to build this new life, the teaser also makes something very clear. They are not the only powerful players in Texas. Other ranch owners are watching closely, studying their every move, and wondering whether the newcomers from Montana will become allies or enemies. Some may see Beth and Rip as potential partners, but others may see them as a threat that needs to be eliminated before they gain too much influence. And if the Yellowstone universe has taught us anything, it is that land wars never stay peaceful for long. A stolen herd of cattle, a broken agreement, or even a simple misunderstanding can quickly turn into a deadly conflict. When money, pride, and legacy are involved, people are willing to do things that go far beyond the law. This is exactly why the first look at Dutton Ranch feels so intense. The environment may be new, but the stakes are just as high as ever. Beth is ready to fight for what belongs to her. Rip is prepared to protect his family at any cost, and Carter is standing right in the middle of a world where one wrong decision could change his entire future. But the biggest mystery of all might be the people they haven't met yet, because somewhere in Texas, powerful ranch owners are already preparing for the arrival of the Dutton name. And when those rivals finally step into the story, Beth and Rip may discover that the war for land in Texas is far more brutal than anything they faced in Montana. And if the teaser is already hinting at betrayal, hidden alliances, and a dangerous new enemy waiting in the shadows, then one question becomes impossible to ignore. Who is the powerful rival that might finally challenge Beth Dutton on her own battlefield?
If there is one thing the Yellowstone universe has proven again and again, it is that land always creates enemies. The moment someone owns something valuable, there will always be someone else who wants to take it away. And in Texas, the land that Beth and Rip now control is not just valuable. It is incredibly important to the powerful ranching families who have dominated the region for decades. According to the first details revealed about Dutton Ranch, one of the most important figures in this new conflict will be a woman named Beulah Jackson. She is not just another ranch owner trying to expand her territory. Beulah is described as the powerful and extremely intelligent head of a massive Texas ranch, a woman who built her influence through strategy, patience, and ruthless decision-making. In many ways, she is exactly the kind of person Beth Dutton respects, but she is also the kind of rival Beth cannot afford to ignore. At first, their relationship might actually appear friendly. When newcomers arrive in a region controlled by established ranchers, it is common for people to observe them before making any serious moves. Beulah will most likely want to understand Beth and Rip before deciding whether they are useful allies or dangerous threats. For Beth, that kind of social game is nothing new. She has spent years sitting across the table from corporate sharks and political manipulators. She knows how to smile while secretly studying the person in front of her. But the real tension will begin when both women realize something very important. They are extremely similar. Both are intelligent, both are ambitious, and both are completely unwilling to lose control of their territory. That kind of similarity rarely leads to friendship in the Yellowstone universe. Instead, it usually leads to one thing: a war of strategy. The teaser hints that Beulah Jackson is not someone who rushes into conflict. Instead, she prefers to weaken her opponent slowly. Rather than attacking Beth directly, she might start by challenging the business side of the ranch. Texas cattle markets are highly competitive, and a powerful rancher like Beulah could easily influence supply chains, workers, and local partnerships. A few carefully placed obstacles could make Beth and Rip's operation far more difficult than they ever expected. But Beulah may not be acting alone. Another dangerous figure introduced in the series is Rob Will, an imposing and unpredictable ranch foreman portrayed by Jay Courtney. Rob is the type of man who thrives in chaotic environments. While Beulah might prefer strategy and patience, Rob represents the physical force behind her power. He is described as someone who is intimidating, aggressive, and extremely loyal to the ranch he serves. For Rip Wheeler, this kind of opponent might feel strangely familiar. Throughout his life, Rip has always been the enforcer for someone else's empire. He knows exactly how men like Rob operate. They protect the land, they intimidate rivals, and when necessary, they are willing to cross lines that other people would never even consider. The moment Rip and Rob eventually face each other, it will not just be a simple meeting between two cowboys. It will be a silent test of strength between two men who understand the same brutal rules. But Rob Will may not even be the most dangerous person working against the Duttons. Another mysterious character named Hakeem has also been revealed, a man described as someone who fixes problems for a powerful ranch. And in the Yellowstone universe, when someone is known for fixing problems, it rarely means solving them peacefully. People like Hakeem usually appear when conflicts escalate beyond normal business disputes. If cattle disappear, if workers suddenly change sides, or if someone decides to send a warning message to a rival ranch, someone like Hakeem is usually involved behind the scenes. This raises an important possibility. If Beth and Rip begin challenging the established power structure in Texas, these individuals may eventually be sent to deal with them in ways that are far more dangerous than simple negotiations. However, the real brilliance of the story might come from how these characters interact with each other. Beulah Jackson may be the mastermind, but she cannot control every situation personally. Rob Will may handle physical conflicts, but even he might struggle against someone like Rip. And Hakeem may solve problems quietly, but even the most careful plans can collapse when emotions and pride get involved. This complex web of alliances and rivalries could turn Texas into one of the most explosive battlefields we have ever seen in the Yellowstone universe, because unlike the conflicts in Montana, this war will involve multiple powerful players, each with their own ambitions and strategies. Beth Dutton has faced powerful men before. She has destroyed billionaires, exposed corrupt politicians, and humiliated anyone who underestimated her intelligence. But Beulah Jackson might represent something completely new for her. For the first time, Beth may be facing a rival who understands her mind just as well as they understand theirs. And when two brilliant and ruthless women begin competing for control of the same territory, the results can become unpredictable very quickly. But while these powerful enemies are preparing their strategies, something else is quietly happening at Dutton Ranch. New allies are arriving, new friendships are forming, and Rip Wheeler may be building a team that could change the balance of power in Texas. The real question is whether these new allies will be strong enough to stand beside the Duttons when the war finally begins. Because if Beth's enemies are already gathering their forces, who exactly will be brave enough to fight on her side when everything starts to fall apart?
While powerful rivals are slowly preparing their strategies in Texas, Beth and Rip will not be facing this new world alone. One of the most interesting aspects of Dutton Ranch is the group of new characters who may eventually become loyal allies to the Dutton family. And if the Yellowstone universe has taught us anything, it is that the right allies can sometimes make the difference between survival and complete destruction. One of the most intriguing new faces in the series is a young woman named Oriana. She is described as someone with a wild and free spirit, the kind of person who refuses to live by strict rules or expectations. At first glance, Oriana might seem like someone who does not fully belong in the harsh and disciplined world of ranching, but that kind of personality can sometimes bring something very valuable to a difficult environment: energy, unpredictability, and the courage to challenge traditions. For Carter, Oriana may quickly become one of the most important people in his new life in Texas. Carter has spent much of his youth trying to find where he truly belongs. Rip has been teaching him the responsibilities of ranch life, pushing him to become tougher, stronger, and more capable. But Carter is still growing, still figuring out who he wants to be in a world that often demands loyalty before anything else. The presence of someone like Oriana could create a fascinating dynamic. While Rip represents discipline and responsibility, Oriana might represent freedom and curiosity. Carter may find himself caught between these two influences, trying to balance the expectations of the ranch with his own personal dreams. That kind of internal conflict could easily become one of the most emotional storylines in the entire series. At the same time, Rip himself will also need people he can trust as he takes on the responsibility of managing Dutton Ranch. One of the characters expected to fill that role is Azul, a loyal ranch hand who may eventually become Rip's right hand. In Yellowstone, Rip spent most of his life serving John Dutton with absolute loyalty. Now, the situation has completely changed. For the first time, Rip is the one who must guide others. This new relationship between Rip and Azul could reveal an entirely different side of Rip's character. Instead of simply giving orders and enforcing rules, Rip may now have to mentor someone the same way John once mentored him. But Rip's past was filled with pain, violence, and extremely harsh lessons. The question is whether he will repeat those same methods with Azul or choose a different approach. Some fans already believe that Rip may actually become a much more patient leader than John Dutton ever was. After everything he has experienced, Rip understands the cost of anger and revenge better than most people. That experience could allow him to build a stronger, more loyal team around him, something that will be absolutely necessary once the conflicts with rival ranches begin to escalate. But perhaps the most mysterious new character introduced in Dutton Ranch is someone named Zachariah. Unlike the others, Zachariah enters the story with a troubled past. He is described as a recently released jailbird trying to rebuild his life as a wrangler and cowboy. Characters like this have always played an important role in the Yellowstone universe. They represent people who have made mistakes but are searching for a second chance. Rip Wheeler might understand someone like Zachariah better than anyone else. Rip himself once lived a life filled with violence and survival. The Yellowstone Ranch gave him purpose and direction when he had nowhere else to go. If Zachariah arrives at Dutton Ranch hoping for a similar opportunity, Rip may see a reflection of his own past in this struggling newcomer. However, trusting someone with a criminal history is never a simple decision. In a world where betrayal can destroy an entire ranch, bringing someone like Zachariah into the team could also create serious risks. Some of the other workers may question his loyalty, and enemies of the Duttons could easily try to manipulate someone who is still searching for stability. This is where the emotional complexity of the story becomes truly interesting. Beth and Rip are not just protecting land anymore. They are building a new community of people who depend on each other for survival. Every decision about who to trust and who to reject could have enormous consequences later in the series. And if these characters truly form a strong bond, the Dutton Ranch could eventually become more than just a business operation. It could become a family, a group of individuals who are willing to fight for each other when powerful enemies attempt to tear everything apart. But the teaser hints that not everyone in Texas is willing to give Beth and Rip the time they need to build this new life. Rival ranches are already watching their progress, analyzing their weaknesses, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Because in a place where land represents power, patience often hides a much more dangerous plan. And if Beth Dutton's enemies are already planning their first move, then the real question becomes even more terrifying. What happens when the very first attack on Dutton Ranch finally begins?
If there is one thing the Yellowstone universe has proven again and again, it is that land always creates enemies. The moment someone owns something valuable, there will always be someone else who wants to take it away. And in Texas, the land that Beth and Rip now control is not just valuable. It is incredibly important to the powerful ranching families who have dominated the region for decades. According to the first details revealed about Dutton Ranch, one of the most important figures in this new conflict will be a woman named Beulah Jackson. She is not just another ranch owner trying to expand her territory. Beulah is described as the powerful and extremely intelligent head of a massive Texas ranch, a woman who built her influence through strategy, patience,